All right, Katie, you're smiling. Smiling's always a good way to start these calls. You're smiling for a reason. Tell me what just happened. How'd you do on the exam?
The exam was super stressful, as you would assume it would be. I didn't think I was going to pass at all. And at the end, I had like 3 minutes left, and I was like, should I go back and look at things? Or should I just risk it all? Just risk it all.
Just risk it all. What are you going to do in 3 minutes? Nothing good happens in 3 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah. So I literally had to read the screen about 15 times, be like, did I pass? It just, because you expect something much bigger than just the small writing that says, congratulations, you passed. I'm like, yeah. So it was good. I'm a weight lifted off my chest. It's great. So I'm excited to be done with it.
That is sweet. Yeah. We were happy to get the message that you did so well. We didn't have a doubt, although you did, but that's the way it goes. So That's cool. So talk me through a little bit about kind of like the evolution of how we got here. So like, what was your PMP kind of prep process and the ups and downs? Give me the short version, please.
Yeah, so about, I think in April or May, I took like an online class, and they said, wait 30 days until you take the test. And I just didn't get it the first time around. I mean, I got it, but it was just a generalization. I couldn't put things together, and it wasn't making sense. So a colleague of mine had recommended to go to you guys. And when I talked to you originally, you said you had like a 7-day accelerator program. I was like, that's exactly what I need. I need something that's just super fast, not something I'm, need to be dedicated for the next 3 weeks. I just want basically a huge, recourse of what I've learned, and so that I can put it together. And just the way that your videos and everything that you, go through with the 7-day accelerator is exactly what you need. It's high level. It helps you, your scenarios help you put them together, where like you don't get that in the normal classes or the normal training. You don't get the scenario based things. Like every now and then they'll say, well, think of it this way. But, I think it was like day 6, there's a video in day 6 where you go through like connecting, initiating, planning, executing, and then going back. And I'm like, that was like a bomb for me. I'm like, oh, great. Now I understand absolutely everything. And it was literally the last like 4 hours of studying where everything just started clicking. And I was like, oh, thank God. But I still, going into the test, didn't think I'd pass, but it was amazing. So I was super, super happy and excited that your videos were as amazing as everybody said they were. So I appreciate it.
That's awesome. It makes me really smile to hear how you went through, and like, so months of studying to like being able to do it in 7 or so days is a big deal. Like, so we're proud of you. You put in tons of work. The flows thing is what you're talking about, the 7 key flows. We're replicating that video multiple times up earlier so that we can watch it. Now, you did really well. Do you think like, did the way in which we teach, did that help you with the situational questions? If so, like talk to me a little bit about how the videos and the way we taught with the situations and high level and scenarios and stuff, how did that help you with situational questions?
I mean, not that I didn't believe you guys, but the entire thing is scenario. And at the end of every question, it is, what did the project manager do wrong? What did the project manager do next? And I thought, when people were saying that, I thought that was like a little like over aggressive. Like, it can't be every question. It is literally every question that says, what would the project manager do next or whatever. So, and I hadn't, I think going through I did sit through a couple. As you know, I literally only had about 8 days to learn. I, had something happen to my eye where I couldn't study for 4 days. I lost 4 days. And so I had to really use that. All I had was 7 days. It was more like 6, but 7 days to get it all done. And the videos about the questions and the 2 sessions that I sat on for like the live event, having that other people walk through it from their perspective was extremely insightful for me, because I look at it one way, they look at it one way, but then like listening to how other people walk through it and dissect it was extremely helpful, because that's 100% what you need to do on every question. When I took the practice exam that was 200 questions, I finished in like, I think 3 hours. And it was because I didn't have that knowledge set to dissect every question and to know to look at the last sentence before you look at anything. And that's why I finished it so quickly. But I was, like I said, up to the 3 minutes to the end, to the point where I was like, I just got to start doing AAAA, you know what I mean? So listening to other people talk it through and think it through is extremely helpful. And then you have a couple of videos that you dissect, like the 50 questions or something, same thing. Those were extremely helpful because that is 100% what the test is like, 100%. No, there's no variance, you know? And not that, again, you just think that your training is going to be a little bit different, but it's not. It's to the T.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, the cool thing about the accelerator thing is I created it for a need. Like, it's not like, hey, you got to go to a boot camp and like, we're going to have some fun and blah, blah, blah. And we'll go and the company pays and all that stuff. Nah, like it's for people that want to pass the thing in 7 days. And so there's no bullshit. It's like straight through to the point. So I'm glad that 6 days, you might be the new record holder. Who knows? But, but that's pretty good. I'm glad it went well for you. So in the exam, how did you manage your emotions, your time, stuff like that? It's okay to be there with 3 minutes left. I mean, hell, that's where how I was. But like, how did you manage yourself as you went through the exam?
The one thing I did do is like I think it's very helpful to not only just read the last line, but to read the answers too, because when you go back up to read the junk that's in between, you really have to like decide whether it's a tool, a technique, a process, or you know, where you are and everything. Right. I think I just tried to maintain an even keel is like when I got to the first 100, because you get that 10-minute break, you know, I was at a time where I would have enough for the rest. Because I did think that the first half, like the first 50 questions were pretty tough, okay, and discouraging, if you will. The second set, and maybe that's just because you're just getting into the test and getting used to it. Yeah. And then the next 50 were somewhat in between, and then I was just ready to be like killed for the second 100. But it just seemed, again, it seemed like it got a little easier. The questions got more simple, like one-liners, as opposed to the really in-depth ones. But I just tried to split my time and, you know, move through it. The questions that I thought were tough, I only flagged a couple too, because I knew I was going to need the time. Right. The ones that I flagged, I answered with like my best, best guess anyways, just in case I didn't go back or whatever, I at least gave it a shot so that I didn't have a blank one. But it's really just as you go through it, you start getting into the rhythm of it. By the second half, you're definitely tired, but you make it through. It really, I feel like an inordinate amount of change request questions.
Oh no, they're everywhere, man. It's like so freaky because you're like, it's too many. Like, it's too many.
That's what I was saying. I'm like, no, there's a trick. I'm missing it. I swear to God, that's what held me up the most, because I kept reading the question going, I'm missing something. But no, there was probably 25 at least of that.
Yeah, that's good. So. Well, as long as you nail that down, then you're like, I'm betting on that I'm following the process. If I get them wrong, then bad. But it's not. You stick to the game and you go through it. Now, how many pages was your data dump?
I only had 2.5 pages. It wasn't too bad.
You're talking about like in the pre-work, right? Like when you wrote down stuff, or are you talking about like on the exam? Like.
No, the pre-work stuff.
Oh, pre-work, yeah. Like when you're like the evaporating data dump. I was setting you up to like say, did you use a data dump in class? Sorry for restate, or in the test of the exam. Like
the only thing I did for a data dump in the exam were formulas, because because that was really the only thing that I could retain in my brain and then spit it right back out right before.
Yeah.
The other stuff, it's just like you know it or you don't know it at that point. And you rely on the test a little bit too, like. They are going to give you options, and as long as you've done the studying amount, you can eliminate the things that are total bull, for the lack of a better term. You know, things that you're like, I've never heard that term, so I'm going to just eliminate it for right now.
That's cool. Well, there's probably people out there that are like you that have like gone through a boot camp. It like was like factual, I guess technically, if you want to be nice to them. Yeah, that's cool. But you like need it away, like. If there's someone out there that's like you that sees like your story is like, hey, I can do it. I can overcome this, but like, they just don't know the path. Like, what would you say as you reflect back to help them kind of get to the place where you are now, where you're successful? What would you say to them?
I guess I would say, the class was good because I didn't read the book. Sorry. Yeah. But the book is like the class. There is nothing I feel like meat-wise in the book that wasn't in the course that I took before. So when I opened the book just to check things, I'm like, this is the same stuff.
You're talking about the PMP.
PMBOK, yeah.
Yeah.
But what brought it together for me, it was just, I had to hear it from a different scenario, a different, different perspective to put it all together. Because I think I told you my interview with you to begin with is, they said that chart, the knowledge areas and the processes, but if you can't put that together, it doesn't make any sense. Well, at the end of my last training, I made no sense to me. I'm like, I don't understand how this will help me. And then I knew that was the Bible. So when I came to, when I found you guys, I was like, this needs to make sense to me. And if it doesn't, then I can't take this test. And that's what you did for me, because I couldn't get it out of the training. I went back to the manual I went through with them. It still didn't make any sense to me. But again, like the scenario-based stuff that you guys did with John, I think his name's John in the video.
Sure.
And then just, again, you connecting the dots between the process. Because when you look at a chart like that, you think it's a punch list. You think it's hit this first, hit this second, hit this third, and that's not necessarily the case, So I mean, again, I wouldn't have passed if I didn't find you guys and get to do your videos and stuff like that. So
that's awesome.
Did that answer your question? Or
that did answer my question, even more than I would have hoped. So that's good. So you're a regular project manager. You're doing good work out there, like going through the course, getting things pulled together, passing the exam. Have you learned things or had different perspectives on things where you're like, oh, I can take that back to my job and things would get a little bit better? Is there anything related to that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a new industry now. I just made a leap from the industry I was in for the past 15 years, which is marketing and advertising. And I built websites and did all that commercials and stuff. And we don't really use anything that's in the PMBOK at all.
Right.
So, but I did have clients that were medical and government. So I was familiar with the terminology. So it was even harder for me because we don't use that in my day-to-day. We didn't use that in my day-to-day. My new job is with the government. So they use it very much so. You have to be certified to even bid on their jobs. So yeah, it's going to change the way I manage my projects now. And I'm also part of the program of the PMO at my new company.
Nice.
And yeah, and now that I see all their templates and stuff, I'm like, oh, now I understand why these don't work, because it's not, set up the right way, or why it would help us if we use them the right way to, be more successful on our project. So yeah, it's huge for me. It's career changing a little bit, because again, I don't come from a hard background of process.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think you got a lot of good things in front of you. I'm really proud of how you did. I'm impressed. Like 6 days is nothing to scoff at. That's super, super impressive. I don't know that anybody's beat that, but there's just probably somebody else that can do it. But good job.
Not fun. I don't recommend it.
Oh, come on. It was fun. It was fun to study. It could be a lot worse. Was it more fun to sit through my videos and do that stuff on the coaching calls, or boring ass boot camp? Which one was more fun? Even though
No, yours was definitely more fun. I mean,
there you go. But it's not like it's not a wild party. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not like a fiesta or anything. Like, we're not talking there.
Yeah, and I don't mean that your stuff wasn't fun. It's just not fun to cram it all into 6 days.
Oh, okay. That just shows that I'm
not you.
Yeah, okay. I'm just sensitive. I'm a sensitive person. So whatever.
And remember, we're in the middle of a pandemic. I got 2 kids under 5, so.
Yeah, no doubt. We were in the same boat there. So that's cool. All right. Well, I know you got places to go. I just wanted to say congratulations. Good job. You worked hard. You got it done. That was the goal.
Super excited.
Yeah, no doubt. Let us know if we can help you out in any way, and we'll follow your progress. So good job. See ya.